While you complain about itemization and unique drop rates, I'm here trying to find enemies to kill, and you are right with your complaints and priorities, but after spending several thousand hours in other ARPGs, including Diablo 3 and PoE, I'm tired of running around in a half-empty dungeon. Many of the game's problems wouldn't matter so much if the current gameplay was satisfactory. Diablo 3 had many similar problems, which were even worse. Some of which were even worse. Nevertheless, it's a great ARPG because the fighting is simply fun. I don't have to look for a group of 5 enemies to kill in 30 seconds, then look for the next group in 20 seconds. As soon as I'm in a rift, I'm surrounded by enemies. I was looking forward to Diablo 4 so much, I took 2 days off because I am a 30-year-old father of 8 and a husband of 3 wives, like most of us. Yeah, true. And yet I turned the game off after a few hours on the first day instead of playing all night as provided, as planned, and it is still like that. Instead of playing late night into the night, I play a Helltide 1 or 2 Nightmare Dungeons and lose the desire. Because itemization is problematic, because uniques are often rubbish, but above all else, fighting is no fun whenever there's hardly anything to fight. I feel like if there were more fights like the Butcher in the game inside of the Nightmare Dungeons, I don't think people would feel this way because they would have like individual NPCs that were like interesting, worth fighting. I think the problem is that like a lot of the mobs are annoying to fight. Let's think of the mobs that are annoying to fight. Skeleton ballistas because they attack you from off screen. Succubus mobs because they run away from you. The bugs are annoying. Anything that is ranged is annoying. The guys that attack you and then they turn into bats and then they fly away, those are annoying. The spiders are annoying because they root you. Oh, the small mobs that blow up, the suicide boys. Oh, the ones that do poison on you too. True. Suppressor mobs are really annoying, yes. Well, what I'm saying is like a lot of the enemies are just fucking annoying to fight. So many of them are just fucking frustrating. And the way you solve the problem is that you just get so much gear that it doesn't even matter. But I don't think that's really that's not a very fulfilling way to play the game, is it? Oh, let's just get so much gear, and that way we'll just outgear any problem that happens. Okay, well, that's boring. It's really cool, actually. It's poor design. Well, I personally, like, as a melee player, I don't care about, like, realism or anything like that. It is literally this simple to me. It is fucking annoying to have to run after mobs that are programmed to run away from you. That's it. That's it. That's where it ends for me. It's fucking annoying. And it's not interesting. It's not fun. It pisses me off every time it happens. I'm not like, oh, wow, this is so interesting. Now it's really exciting. Like, fuck, man. Did Diablo 3 have mobs like that? Yeah, it did. It had the spear boys. And then there was that one spear boy in Act 1 that you needed for, like, the Uber key, and he would root you and then run away. That was really fun. Yeah, that was insane. I'd love if you did a tier list on the most annoying enemies. Yeah, that's a good idea. Biggest problems is CCs. Barbs and druids don't feel good because, don't feel it because they're always unstoppable. Rogue is bad. Yeah, maybe you're right. It's annoying to chase mobs that are as fast as you as a melee character with mostly no mobility skills. Yeah, I think so too. Diablo 2 Act 3 had some mobs that were annoying, but not quite that annoying. Yeah, it's just like, I don't understand why the developers are so stubborn on not finding ways to give players directly the ability to directly earn uniques. Have you got the ancestral rare whirlwind that explodes whenever you stop casting it? Oh, no, because it's a bad item. You're talking about Gore's gauntlets? Yeah, those are garbage. I don't know. I just think that, like, there's a lot of things in Diablo. I'll make a little list. Seeing death pulses is harder officially because other spell effects and other NPCs. Explosions from on-death effects interrupt your movement. On death effects. Getting hit from a spell that was cast off screen. Resource burn. Poison. Being CC'd with no debuff indication. Getting sacred items at level 95. Those are the annoying things about Diablo 4 that I can come up with right now. Wave, mini. Wave encounters only spawn 4 mobs per wave, and 3 of them run away from you. Spider webs, you're right. Skeleton barricades. I feel like these are the annoying things about combat. And like, this is basically just combat, right? Obviously, you could say like gem tabs or whatever, but these are the things that I think are bad about combat. Enemy poison pool is, enemy drops poison pool to stand in. Enemy drops poison pool, proceeds to stand in poison pool and use ranged attacks. Yeah. Oh, enemies that with teleport affix, as soon as you engage them, teleport to another room. Don't forget the stupid ice wall thing. Yeah. Yep, the hardest thing about ice wall being the effect it has on visibility rather than its damage or effect. True. So you can see how vulnerable. Yeah, I guess I'll add this. Yep, there we go. So these are the annoying things about the game. And like, there is not a single one of these things in the game makes it more fun. It's just fucking annoying. Stun lock, so I gave that. Being CC'd with no debuff indication. You should never kill a monster in an ARPG. It gives 0 experience if you're not at max level. It's just shit. Whirlwind snapshotting position. Oh, yeah. Yeah. That's actually a good point. Suppressor. Yeah, if you cast Whirlwind outside Suppressor and then you move in to attack the Suppressor mob, it doesn't do damage. You have to actually recast Whirlwind again. Yeah, very, very cool. And it's like that clearly doesn't make sense, right? It just doesn't make sense. Yeah, overlapping Suppressor. Yeah, it's a feature. Yeah, it does not make sense. That sounds crappy. Yeah, it's crappy. It's garbage. Bad design. Shit coding. Absolutely. Getting frozen from one cold enchanted elite hit. Being frozen, I don't think would be as bad if you had better debuff indications. Like, you can't even tell how long the freeze is going to last for. You don't know if it's going to last for 3 more seconds or another fraction of a second. You have no idea. So, like, for example, if you knew how long a debuff was going to last and you knew you were frozen for 2 seconds, you would be like, oh, okay, I should use my unstoppable ability now to get out of this freeze. But if you didn't know that and you were just frozen for like 0.2 seconds, you're like, okay, I'll just wait this out. So it's like they basically made Diablo 3, they made something from Diablo 3 worse for no reason. Do you want all the mobs to run at you and just stand there and let you kill them? Well, not necessarily, but I think that the affixes that they have are annoying. Like, I think that you can make something challenging without making it annoying. Like, for example, resource burn isn't fun to play against for anybody. Here's actually a good way to look at it, right? Is that if you have if you have like a NPC or like a type of design that no player enjoys fighting, why is it in the game? If nobody likes it. Does that make sense? Like, why do you have this? Because I don't think people, like, for example, in Dark Souls, like, people like Artorias, but he's a hard boss. Like, people like, you know, Ornstein and Smo, but it's a hard boss. So, I don't think that difficulty has to be annoying. People like the Butcher. Yeah, people love the Butcher, but the Butcher is the hardest boss in the game. So it's not just that difficulty isn't fun, it's that some types of difficulty aren't enjoyable. They should have had DLC for Diablo 3 instead of releasing a new game. No, I think that they should have definitely released a new game. Echo of Lilith is the only challenge in the game. Yeah, and it's not even really a challenge. It's just that if you make one mistake, you're instantly dead. They need more boss battles? Yeah. I've killed Butcher on accident? Yeah, I mean, I have too. How is that not a challenge? In general, I like it whenever a game asks you to get to the number 4 without making you do 2 plus 2. And I feel like whenever you have a boss fight like Uber Lilith, that is so massively punishing and super hard that it's almost impossible to do anything other than just avoid every single attack and play it perfectly scripted correctly, then I find it kind of boring. Because every single kill attempt is kind of the same thing, and there's not really a lot that a player can do to adapt their strategy to the boss based off of their playstyle. They still kind of have to do the exact same thing. Like, for example, in Dark Souls, like, I've always used this example, you know, Dark Souls asks you to get to the number 4, but it doesn't matter if you do 2 plus 2, 3 plus 1, 4 plus 0, 5 minus 1. Like, I don't know, like, -8 plus positive 12. You can get to 4 as well. So that's what's, I think, good about games like that, is that they provide a challenge, but they give you different ways to solve the problem. That's how Final Fantasy Savage raids are too. It's almost synchronized swimming. Yeah, well, I mean, like, I mean, sure. Your offensive doesn't do shit, may as well unbind it. Yeah, exactly. We need raids. I think Diablo should add raids in like a season, like season 5 or 6. Just see what happens. I know that a lot of people don't really want that, but I think they should try it. Like, just see what happens. Like, don't make it like a mandatory thing, but just, you know, put it in the game and see if people like it. Different builds for Lilith. For example, Barbarians can take waves and ghosts. Barbarians can, but most builds can't. Almost nobody can. And they have to completely build for that. And I think that's also a good thing. Do you think they should have more world bosses? No. What if the game needs more progressive system? Raids should happen years or expansion down the road? Yeah, they need to fix the base of the game. What kind of reward do you see given out for those raids? I don't know. Start with just pretty much like a lot of legendaries, just like a lot of gear. And then if people really like them and it's enjoyable, then add better gear. It's that simple. Just Necropus is Blood Mist and immune to all damage? Yeah, there's that too, you're right. World bosses are the LFR of Diablo 4? Yeah, pretty much. There should be other Diablo 3 bosses that are used as special encounters. Totally agree. A game that needs this much talk, videos, and criticism and constant complaints is just a bad game. Well, I don't know. I think, like, a lot of people are playing Diablo. Like, let's go back in, like, a year or so, and we'll see how many people are still playing the game. Because, like, the fundamentals of Diablo and, like, the base gameplay, like the movement, the way your character interacts with the world, the environment, the aesthetic of the game, I think is exactly what people want. And I think that's why people are giving a lot of feedback on it. The real problem is whenever you have a game that comes out that nobody cares about, and then people just leave and quit. Like, that's the issue. There's no true grind in game. Everything gives the same loot. Butcher gives the same better loot than Uber Lilith. Yeah, I think that's true too. More challenging content should reward better loot. Yeah. People wouldn't be complaining if it was bad. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, people wouldn't be complaining because they would just immediately quit the game. Bosses like Uber Lilith should be hard, but there should be a sort of Elite Four journey to get through each time, but definitely not one-shotter. I would really like to see. I would really like to see more bosses that are in between Uber Lilith and Elias. I think that's what everybody wants, honestly. I think Blizzard's adding one of the bosses, but I just don't want to see another boss that's added into the game that's like Uber Lilith, where it's like you make one mistake and like your character just gets evaporated. Like one mistake, you're dead. Okay, like this isn't... Like I get, like, yeah, I guess that's a way to make it challenging and hard, but I just don't find it to be super interesting. Like, I just don't. Right? I mean, like, all of the really big challenging games don't really do that. Challenging maybe, but not engaging? Yeah. Rumor has it in an interview they gave the new boss they're adding to is akin to Uber Lilith. Yeah, we'll see what happens. I do still want to beat the boss just for the sake of doing it, but that's about it. Isn't that what Mythic is in WoW? Yeah, and that like Mythic rating is... Like, who's rating in WoW? Like, let me see, actually. Warcraft logs. Yeah, I'm actually kind of curious about this, because I don't know. How many people are rating in WoW versus, let's see here. TOC, statistics and TOC versus retail WoW. Can I uncheck retail WoW? Okay. And then raids. Statistics. Yeah. So, like, you can compare this. Like, this is retail WoW. You see, like, these are the numbers for, like, this is Mythic. And Heroic is obviously going to be higher. Like, actually, there's a lot for Heroic. And this is Trial of the Crusader. So there's a lot more people doing, like, high-end content. But at the same time, this is only 25 Heroic. Keep this in mind. So, like, normal, there's going to be even more people doing it. Well, actually, not even more people, but, like, there are more people doing it. And then 10-player, obviously, you have a lot of people doing that. And so, overall, like, in what I would say is probably the biggest lull in content for Classic WoW, because, like, nobody gives a shit about TOC, I wouldn't be surprised if it might actually still be outperforming, because you're adding, like, 4 different lists of these numbers. It might still be outperforming retail WoW. Against the logic, you rarely see successful people being haters. Yeah, kind of, yeah. Do you think suggesting changes you to a boss you can't beat is biased? Well, what happens after I beat the boss? Then am I suddenly correct? So, like, if I beat the boss, like, for example, Melania. I beat Melania. I think it's a gimmick boss. I don't think it's a great boss at all. Because the entire fight is built off of being able to dodge waterfowl. And if you can do that, the boss is a joke. And if you can't do that, you can't kill the boss. That's all there is to it. It's one ability, and if you do that, that's it. Remember Wulong? People said the same thing about that. I beat all of Wulong, and I still said the game was garbage. There are a lot of things in games you don't have to beat them and be an expert in them to be able to detect whether they're bad or not.